play the North American YCS this weekend. It was pretty rough with the time zone difference. I finished day one at about 5 a.m. and on X2 record, so I was pretty tired, but we managed to grind it through and finish top 32 playing Eldlich. So I'll get onto the exact deck profile in a second, but before we do, after any big event I play in, like regional wise or higher, I normally do sort of an event breakdown, which I've got in the past year. You're looking at the highlighted area. So this is the North American Remote Duel YCS. This weekend I played Eldlich. So we'll get on to obviously the tech choices I played in a bit, but I predicted everyone was going to play the Brave package, and there was a lot of areas where I thought that I could exploit with Floodgates. I didn't initially get much time to test the event, so I thought I'd play a deck that's really easy to play, and Yu-Gi-Oh does have those options, so if anyone is looking for a deck that's easy to play to pick up wins, I think Eldlich is probably one of the better options to play. Fluenderies is quite up there as well, it's quite easy to play. But yeah, this is my choice of deck for the weekend, after expecting a lot of Brave decks. So yeah, I finished X2, so 8-2 in Swiss, finishing 26th, and I unfortunately lost in top 32. However, this is the event sort of breakdown. I'll show you guys the deck itself, which is here. So you're probably thinking, Cameron, what is this mess? So I'll get onto my matchups shortly in a bit of how things went out. But like I said, I managed to grind it through to top 32. So initially, you're looking at, I think initial questions people are going to ask me is, why main deck Lava Golem? Why play Extravagance when you're playing Dragoon? Why side deck Dragoon? So initially those sort of questions can be answered quite straightforward. So Lava Golem, if we look at the floodgates we have in the side, like Goes a Match, Rivalry, they can be, I think these two in particular with Skill Drain, Lava Golem is insane, because you Lava Golem them and then you just flip the floodgates and it kind of breaks their board. So yeah, that's one of the short-term answers for that. Obviously the rest of the deck is quite straightforward. Things in here that I would change, obviously I just probably change the floodgate ratio, it depends on how the format shapes up, but I think this is fine. Plus Lava Golem, with how the format shapes up, most of the time most people ended on like Baron plus another negate, or like Baron Griffin plus another card that could be disruption. So Lava Golem outs that, because you can struggle going second in this deck if you don't open like a strike, or if you don't open torrential, and you've got like a handful of Eldritch stuff. Lava Golem does answer a lot of those problems. So yeah, that and plus like Floodgates is really strong, because it forces them to like out their boards sort of if they can't negate it. So that's a short question, short answer. Next is Dragoon. Why Dragoon in the sides? A lot of people are asking me that initially already. So let's say for example like game 1, my opponent sees I'm playing a lot of back row. Games 2 and 3, they're most likely going to take out the droplets. So once they take out the droplets and put in cards like Lightning Storm, Evenly Matched, Cosmics, they're not focusing on a monster removal, they're focused on back row. So we can afford to play a card as strong as Dragoon. Hence why I play 3 copies with Extravagance. I didn't have a situation where I banished all 3 luckily this weekend, but this card was very, very strong going into the games 2 and 3. It was a very wacky, spontaneous sort of strategy. That's how I like playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I was very tempted to play Mystic Mine in this deck as well, but I thought that'd be a bit too much, and plus I can't really play under it as well. Say if I was playing Prank Kids, or if I was playing like a Tri-Brigade Lureless deck. So I didn't want to play Mystic Mine because I couldn't play under it as well. But I probably would have thought about playing it, honestly. I think people are so expected for people not to play it because of the Draco back, because of people main decking Cosmic Cyclones, that some people just might not opt to play the Draco back, or might not opt to play the Cosmic, so they don't really see it coming. So yeah, this is one of those things where I just wanted to ensure my opponent sides out the droplet, then go to a monster sort of Dragoon heavy strategy. Of course there were games where I did side this in and didn't see it, especially as you're playing only 3 Fusion and 3 Extravagance. I didn't opt to play Prosperity. Originally I was a big fan of Prosperity in this deck, but I felt like it gave away too much knowledge, which really allowed my opponents to play around certain cards. So Extravagance, having the +1, I valued it more. But yeah, I think it worked out really well. I think that's probably the big questions that people are going to ask. But yeah, we'll just get straight into the deck profile. So 2 Lava Golem, like I said at the start, it just pairs really well with the Floodgates. Being a Fiend and Fire, not many Fiend Fire decks right now, so if any. So yeah, Lords of Heavenly Prison, I think this card's insanely good in a simplified game state. Of course as well, you can set your Red Eyes Fusion off this card, which is very broken, as well as your Extravagance, which were the main targets. 2 Lord, very standard, 3 Extrav, 1 Cold. Cold of the Grave is super good when it resolves properly. So I opened in a couple of games, I think it's like 2 games out of 10 matches where I opened Red Eyes Fusion plus Cold. So my opponent could Ash this, I just chain Cold. I was like, wow, yeah, insane. Insane. We could say lucky, but I think if you want to do well sometimes with a deck like this, you do need a bit of luck. I certainly got that in some matches, but again, I lost to top 32 because of Duster reboot, so yeah, that happens as well. So Eldlich Engine is very standard. 2 Aquero, I don't think there's space for 3, as it wants to play 40 cards. 3 Torrential, this card was insane going second, insane going first. I would not even think about cutting this card. Even like taking out, say if you open this and strike, bro, you're just blowing up some insane boards right there. So yeah, really good card. Ice Dragon's Prison, so this is a card that I potentially think about cutting because it conflicted with the Floodgates. So say for example you're under Rivalry and you've got a Lords on the field, you can't really use IDP because you can't special summon anything other than the zombie. So that's my theory with that. I know someone did ask me a question on my YouTube channel, so hopefully I'm going to tag them in this, and so that explains that. Obviously if you have this and don't see a Floodgate, or you just have Skill Drain for example, it is very broken, but I felt like this card wasn't that good at times because of the confliction with the Floodgates. Strike, Judgment, I think these are really self-explanatory. Judgment in the main was okay, but it obviously going first post side decking is very important. Plus I didn't have much space in the side deck because I did play the package, so I wanted to play cards like Lava Golem, Judgment in the main to allow me to make more space in the deck. Skill Drain, Gozen, Rivalry, they can be with a choice of Floodgates. I chose to play more Gozen over the Rivalry and they can be because I felt like there was a lot of Brave decks. Say for example they make Token, you play Gozen. It's pretty good. It's yeah, pretty strong. I felt like I had to have a way to play my turn in order for me to like get over it properly, because if I don't play Prank Kids, I'm playing like PK and I go Gozen, it's just not very good. So I kind of had to play around a few things. Plus, like if I flip Gozen, it's Prank Kids, sorry, not PK, sorry, and they have like DP access, I'm kind of in trouble. So there's ways to like time this as to when you can play around DPE. Rivalry as well, so a couple of times with Rivalry I did flip it on a Brave token and it were locked into Fairies, so that's pretty good. They can be as well against those odd matchups like Sword Soul. I did have a They Can Be plus a Lord and a Heavenly Prison a few times, which is really strong. Simplified game state, you're just bashing over everything and you're just backing yourself up like Judgment strikes in case they do top deck a out to it. But yeah, it's quite a simple way of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! It worked really effectively and I'm happy with how it worked out. Side deck was Heavy Storm Duster. So in the mirror match I felt like my main deck wasn't very good in the mirror match. Floodgates just didn't really do anything. The mirror match can come up, I was not predicting loads of it, but in YCSs and regionals especially, you're going to play back row decks, so I thought I'd have a card that allowed me to take advantage of back row decks. So considering my main deck isn't very good in these matchups, I didn't play any back row decks. I played literally none, which is good for me, but I like to have the option there. Even in match, same, like I think I opened evenly plus Lava Golem a lot to go in seconds, and it was insane. I opened it against PK as well a few times. Sword Soul, you just out the Baron, out the Griffin if they have one, and evening match, and they're like, wow. And I like, yeah, very good. Same with like the Gadala as well. You tribute over the Baron, and you just go evenly matched, and it's like, yeah, wow, fair play. And then you set like 4 and you just pass. Dimensional Barrier was okay. I couldn't really put a third one in. I would have liked to, but I didn't really have the space. Plus, it's a card that's chainable, so if they get rid of your back row, there was one situation my opponent played Twin Twister of all back row removal this format. I had Sanguine in this set against Sword Soul, and he Twin Twisted my Sanguine in this, and it was like, okay, cool, chain both of them, and yeah, loads of value off that. Mentioned at the start the Red Eyes fusion with the Dark Magician Red Eyes. So this package, like I said, going into games 2 and 3 when they take out the droplets, it was very, very strong. Back in Dragoon up with a Floodgate or a Judgment or a Strike was insane. I think a couple of times I opened Dragoon with Torrential and just blew up the field. Obviously Dragoon not being destroyed, and they had to play through then their own field again with a Dragoon on board. It was just super, super difficult for them to do that. So yeah, Gadala as well, which is another option to break my opponent's board, and it plays well into the Floodgates because it's a wind and a insect, especially into rivalries and such as well. I did want to side deck more Floodgates, but I thought these were enough. Quite a few there, so yeah, 10, I thought 10 was enough. Extra deck, I didn't actually use this very much because of the Floodgates. So Link Spider was probably the main one. I used Vampire Sucker a bit as well. Be it under Rivalry, just linking off your traps and Lord into the grave, just like to get Lord back out and then get a draw off this. Yeah, pretty good. Other than that, I don't actually think I used the side deck much, obviously, other than Dragoon. The Entis, obviously no punishment in here, but Entis was just in case I played against Dogmatica and it goes Maximus, I get double pop. So yeah, I think the deck in a whole worked as well as I wanted it to work. It did what I really theorized. I think sometimes when I play Yu-Gi-Oh, I do put a lot of theory in, sometimes it just doesn't come up. But it's good to finally have some good theory in my head that worked out, and especially with the Dragoon stuff in the side, everyone questioned this. I showed like quite a few people I play with, they were like, bro, what are you doing? Just main deck it or don't play it. And I was just like, no, honestly, this theory works. And it caught people off guard. I feel like if there's time to catch people off guard, it's going to be early format with people experimenting with different decks. And yes, so in terms of matchups, so round 1 I played Sword Soul. I think this was like the Sword Soul pure with like East Heli. Obviously it's a win. Round 2 I played Virtual Worlds. Shen Chen, who's like insanely strong against the deck, plus Chuche, so couldn't really do a lot then. I tried to play around it as best I could, but yeah, those two cards just really done me over. Sword Soul, so I picked up quite a few wins against Sword Soul here. I picked up 4 wins out of 3 wins out of 4. Picked up my second loss to Swiss early on. So as you can see, from round 4 onwards, I had to win everything to get to top 32, and we did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games unbeaten in a YCS. So yeah, I was pretty proud of that. And yeah, quite a lot of Sword Soul. Played Drytron, weirdly enough. How did this matchup go? It was actually not too bad. Obviously Ultimateness is a very good card, but yeah, we managed to put it through. Dragoon come clutch in that game as well, so yeah, we put in work. Invoke DPE, I think this was quite straightforward. We just skill drained the hell out of Alistair. Like Alistair couldn't do anything in the skill drain. So yeah, that was pretty fun. PK was a tricky matchup because DPE is a problem, especially if you don't play around it. So yeah, it was a tough grindy game, but we managed to pull through. And then the most stressful games of the day was around 9 and 10. So Tribirds was they had the DP in it as well. They were playing DP, but they were just trying to go second Mega Zeus into my board. Using the Lyrilusk XYZ that can't be destroyed, so they can't like judgment it. It was good 2 rounds for us. We managed to pick up both our wins then, and then that was secure. We finished. It was top 32, 26th, X2. So yeah, that was the rounds. And then we lost in top 32 to Sword Soul. Notably representing decks of the event were Prank Kids Adventurer, Tangy Adventurer, and Sword Soul. So they were the best decks, or most represented decks from my point of view. I didn't really see. There was actually a big mix of like decks in top 32. We had Flundery, Sky Striker, DDD. I think the Tangy Adventure deck's probably up there the most. But in Swiss, there was a lot of Prank Kids. As you can see from my matchups like Virtual Worlds, Invoked, PK, Tribirds. So I think the overall meta was pretty good.